There are so many good albums in the 1960s. It is crazy. I have so many more of these videos I can do. So we're back, visiting the 1960s, where I'm going to share 5 more albums that I think are essential for you to own if you want to build out your music knowledge from the 1960s. Check it out. I haven't mentioned the Doors yet, not because I don't like them, just because there's been a lot to get through and I haven't gotten around till just now. The Doors. Jim Morrison, classic, amazing. I mean, the Doors are legends. They would have had a lot more music moving forward if Jim Morrison didn't pass away very early on in his life and career. But this album might be my favorite of their stuff. I mean, they have 2 of their biggest hits, Break On Through and Light My Fire, which they put all on the same side. Interesting. You think they'd start one side with one, like Beggar's Banquet kind of style, but no. And then it ends. The final song is The End. 11.5 minutes long. It is a dark, somber song. It's like a dark ballad almost. It's a really sinister feel to it. If you like the Doors, you definitely have this album. If you don't have it or don't know the Doors, great place to start to give you a sense of their sound. No one really sounds like the Doors. They had a very unique style to them and aesthetic, and everything about them was just Jim Morrison, you know, keyboards, excellent sound, and it's a shame we don't have more music from them, but this is a great place to start. This is a special album. So this album used to have a different cover, which had a topless girl on the cover, but this is the more commonly found cover, Blind Faith. Blind Faith is one of the first ever supergroups, I guess. Eric Clapton, everyone knows Eric Clapton, Steve Winwood, who's from Traffic, and Ginger Baker, who is one of the best drummers of all time. I'm not super familiar with Rick Gretsch's work, and I know I might get yelled at in the comments for that. I'm sure he's done a lot. He wouldn't have been asked to be a part of this band if he wasn't amazing. I also don't know if I'm pronouncing it correct. It could be Rick Grech. I don't know. But this is, I think, the only album or band to ever get into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame with one album. That means it's good. This combination of people put out such a wonderful compilation of music over the course of their very short-lived project career. Can't Find My Way Home is a song that Traffic did, as well as this band. It is one of the prettiest, most powerful songs I think ever written. I would definitely put it up there with some of the greatest, you know, Stairway to Heaven-esque lists of best songs ever. Can't Find My Way Home is just, oh man, it tears your heart apart. And everything on this album is definitely worth listening to. I mean, this, you know, one album getting you into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, it's not just because these guys are talented. I think Blind Faith is a must-have. Most people have not heard of them, but they have heard of the individuals, so listen to the sum of their parts. Bee Gees, first. And I've talked about Odessa before, but all the albums that came out around Odessa, just as good. Bee Gees First is such an amazing debut album. They really do sound like the Beatles. You're gonna listen to it and close your eyes and be like, are these B-sides of the Beatles I never heard? It's mind-blowing. I mean, Robin Gibb's voice is so haunting and so pretty at the same time. This whole album is really, really nice. I love Cucumber Castle and Holiday, Close Another Door. This is just a really, really nice album that most people don't know about because most people think the Bee Gees are just disco. Well, they're not. Their career before disco was better than anything they did in the disco era. It needs to be respected. So, Bee Gees First, start at the first and just go forward. The first is something you need to familiarize yourself with. You might recognize this. Jimi Hendrix, Axis Bold as Love. Man, Hendrix was another one of those careers like Jim Morrison that should have went way longer than it did, but unfortunately, drugs, man. Does powerful things in the body in which it kills it. The music output he had before is astronomical. In terms of how much stuff he put out, Jimi Hendrix is considered to be the best guitarist of all time. I don't know if I agree, but he's definitely top 5. I mean, it's hard to say who's the best guitarist ever. One thing's for sure, the dude can solo like a mother. This album, really, really good. Cool little gatefold. The big songs on here that everyone's probably heard, you probably heard Little Wing, Castles Made of Sand, Bold as Love. This is a really, really good guitar psychedelic rock album. One of the earlier psychedelic rock albums, and done very well. So Jimi Hendrix, if you like guitar, at all, I mean, I feel like there's a staple in your collection. There's no way you don't have some Hendrix. Some people prefer some of his other albums. I love a lot of his other albums, and they'll probably appear on other volumes of the Eras video series. But right now I'm talking about Axis Bold as Love, and this is an album that you gotta hear to believe that it was even existing back in the 60s. Who's this guy? Oh, the guy I've talked about in almost all of these videos. Have I talked about him in every video? I might have.
Bob Dylan.
Bob Dylan. This album just scoots by into the 60s, coming out in 1969. What I like about this album is that Bob Dylan sounds different vocally than like almost anything else in his catalog. Now, most people don't love Bob Dylan's voice. If you don't, I would try this album to get into him. He has this country twang to his voice that he doesn't really do normally, or he kind of sounds like this a little bit. Obviously, actually that's a pretty damn good impression. He has a collaboration on here, Girl from the North Country, with Johnny Cash, and that song is legendary. Love that song. One of his biggest songs, Lay Lady Lay, is on this album. He does some affectation. Maybe he's hanging out with the country guys too much, but he does an affectation with his voice that's unlike anything else he's put out that I've heard. And, you know, it's just a really nice album with a country flair to it. It's not quite as good as some of the early stuff, you know, like Freewheelin', Bringing It All Back Home. It's not going to be that kind of Bob Dylan album, but this is definitely worthy of listening to. One of my favorites from the 60s for sure. Those are 5 more picks. There are 5 others I could have talked about, probably 20 others, 50 others. There will be more videos, so if your favorite album has not been talked about yet, guarantee you it will be at some point, so stick around for that. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up, please subscribe. More videos very soon.